Maybe I can start you out. I've always gone to Fort Street since I was 5 years old, and except when we moved out of town.
Right.
But when I came to Detroit, I went to Fort Street. But he was in a service in the war, and before he went overseas, he had a 30-day leave, and that's when he asked me to marry him, and I said yes. Well, he was overseas fighting, and when he came back, we were married a week later at Fort Street. But he wrote me a letter saying that he's going to be home in July, the war is over, and blah, 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 you know. My daughter has a copy of the letter. And I read the letter and I thought, well, that's not the way I plan to be married, in his sister's apartment and all this other kind of stuff. And his aunt was visiting at the time from New Orleans, and she says, honey, you just make your plans and he'll either marry you or he won't. So I made my plans to be married at Fort Street, and he came home.
He showed up.
That was it. And we married at Fort Street.
Dr. Rotz, he gets us up on that platform there where we're going to get married, and Dr. Rotz had something wrong with his muscles in his neck.
It was from a childhood disease.
And he was always shaking his head back and forth.
It was very like this.
And
Really?
and he says to me, Harry, I went by Harry at that time.
Okay. You're still Harry to me.
And he says, Harry, do you take this woman to be your lawful wedded wife? And I didn't get the message.
I've been to Fort Street. I was there when Dr. Pence was there, and it wasn't too long after I started that he died, quite sudden. But from then on, I've known them all.
Harry, I know you've done a lot of, you've had a lot of, I would call them sort of special projects at Fort Street that you've supported. That you've done essentially, you know.
I think I started when one time I was laid off, and I was down at the church at lunchtime, and I forgot his name. You know, I'm forgetting a lot here lately.
That's understandable.
It wasn't Hastings.
The minister.
His wife was there.
Dorothy Lemming.
Lemming.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, Lemming. He came up to me and he says, Harry, I just received a check for $20,000. And would you like to work on the Donlin room? We're going to call it the Donlin room.
Up until then, it wasn't called the Donlin room.
No, that's right. Not
Primary.
before that.
Okay.
And so we went down and looked, and I says, you know what? Just before you went into the classrooms where they had them at original, well, there was a junk room. All kinds of crap was in there. And he says the first thing you can do is clean out everything. So I started cleaning out stuff, and I would ask what he would like to save. And I found the boards that was up for the choir right behind the pipes up there. That's we had a quartet.
Oh yes, right.
And I said, well, what about this board right here? Throw it out. Well, I threw it out in the trunk of my car. And now that same board has all of those names in it of the veterans, and it's hanging on the wall in the narthex. That
That's a
same board. And John Newman, that's his name.
Okay, sure,
He's the one that
sure.
did all the work, and he cut that board up in every right way that there was. And it was.
And he made that
It
happen.
was black walnut,
Oh my,
and
wow,
that's expensive lumber.
right.
You don't get much of it around here.
Right.
And, but anyway,
That's great.
John did the work, but I saved that board. I must have been saving that board for 20 years. Now it's back in the church.
Interesting, interesting.
You know, you go back to the Donlin room. You know, the Donlin room goes all the way back to where the compressor is that runs the organ.
Oh,
Did you know that that organ used to run on water?
no,
On Sunday morning they would open the valve and the water would rush in and start turning that.
oh, for goodness sake.
And it was a fan, and I didn't take too much notice of it, but that organ was driven by water. Nobody knows that.
No,
Nobody paid any attention to George Wimmer. But one day I was picking up the offering, and I put it in front of George Wimmer, and he dropped in 5 $100 bills.
really.
And so I didn't jump him right away. I waited a week, and I said, "We have a camp out there at Lake Orion. Would you like to see it?" Okay. He went with me out to the camp, and he liked it. And I said, "You know, we need a new mess hall right now." And so he sent did you ever see the blue building we had out there for the mess hall?
I don't remember. I
Okay.
probably did.
Well, anyway, George Wimmer went with
donated
me,
the
and
building
he
on
sent
the
the
original.
material to build a 4,000-foot
Wow.
mess hall.
Oh my.
And it was, of course, there was a eating place there
Right.
too.
Right.
And George was, he was always my friend after that. And of course, we used to have what we called the Circle of Pines. And that's
Oh,
where
yes.
all the kids used to gather,
Oh yes.
and they'd have prayer or something there in the Circle of Pines. And did you have the Circle of Pines when you was going there as a kid?
Yes, of course. We always had a circle of pines.
Hmm.
That was our church in the woods.
Church in the Woods. Okay.
Interesting.
And that was good.
Sure.
And we kept a lot of kids. And when Jennifer, she had that little girl, and
Jennifer Lorimer had her.
I don't remember her name.
But not Lorimer.
Well, anyway,
Okay.
and
Eleni?
one day,
Would that have been
who
during
was
the
it?
camp?
No, it was Virginia's daughter,
Yeah.
Yeah, Jennifer.
Jennifer.
Yeah. Okay.
We went out before camp opened, and they put a belt around on Jennifer and blew it up. It was for kids.
Right.
And then she gets down in the lake, and you know, I'm on the dock looking down at her.
No, you're right on the shore. You were right on the shoreline. Go
Was I
ahead.
on the shore?
Yeah.
Okay, I was on the shore there, and I saw her, and that tipped it over, and she was head
holding her
down
under.
in the water.
Ah.
Yeah.
So I ran out there with all my Sunday clothes on,
Ah.
I can see
and I
it.
grabbed that little girl, and I turned her up right away.
goodness.
And her mother, by this time her mother shows up. Jennifer. No.
No, Virginia.
Virginia.
Yeah, and I hand the little girl up to the mother. And,
And we just received number 24. Our son's wife our grandson's wife had a baby,
Oh my goodness.
a little girl, and they already had a little boy. And Diane's daughter Janet, no, that's the one they had the baby. Now, wait a minute. Our son's daughter in Texas is expecting any time in June.
Oh, for goodness
So-
sake.
They just keep
They
coming.
just keep coming.
That's number 24 and 25.
Of-
Great
Of the great grands. Oh.
Can you believe
Or
that?
great greats.
No, just great.
Greats, right. okay, I
But
thought
we
you
have
said
3 greats that have graduated from college, all
my
boys. So anything can happen there. They
Yeah.
could get married and start
Right.
another,
Another
generation.
generation. My
and
goodness.
I can't believe it.
Greenville, South Carolina
But
is
kids say, you gotta
was
go.
a good place. But before we went down there, and I think it was in 1969, I come home, I told her I wanted to start a shop. And she says, "Are you crazy? We don't have money to start a shop." "But I want to name it after you, honey."
I got money now.
Oh my goodness. And then she agreed.
And it was Lorraine Machine after that.
Oh my
And
goodness.
then,
Started out Lorraine Tool and Die, and Tool and Die when business was sent to the bigger companies to foreign countries, and so then he named it. He started something else. You changed it to.
well, we
And
kept
now-
Lorraine always.
I know it was always Lorraine, but now he's in the machine business. He bought a bunch of machines that just make stuff instead of Tool and Dies.
Okay.
And so it's Lorraine Machine now,
And
and our son runs it.
I tell you, guy came in the office one day in the very beginning, and he's got this dirty box, 18 inches square, dirty all over, and sealed up with tape. Boom, on the desk it went. And he says to me in this nasty voice, "Can you make that stuff?" And I was taken, I don't know what to do, say then to that. So I finally got up out of the chair, and I looked him right in the eye, and I said, "Yeah, I could make that stuff."
Without even looking at it?
That's right. I'm a positive thinker.
Good for you. Good for you.
Well, you know what I made? You know the cartridge that you put your money in the banks and push the button and it goes away?
Right.
That's what I made for the first 12 years.
Oh,
I made that cartridge for the banks.
for goodness sake.
Those pneumatic tube things.
Yes, yes.
Well, the round tube,
Yeah, yeah.
plastic tube, you can buy that at the
Yeah.
hardware
The
store.
cartridges, anyway.
Yeah.
He made the things to put
Yeah.
it together.
I was
Hmm.
I was tickled that I could do that, and he with that sealed box, I might have said, "What do you think I am, some kind of magician? I can't make. I got to see it first."
But no, not
No,
you.
no, not me. This is my company.
Hold it up for the camera. Stop about there.
Back up. Hold it straight from the camera.
That's okay. She's got it well, thank you.
Now, you want to know where I am in that picture?
That is.
Yeah, show us.
Huh?
There's there in the picture.
Point to yourself.
Okay.
Be the handsome one, right?
I'll come over so you can take the picture.
Oh, maybe I should bring the camera over to you. Just turn it, you can just turn it and point.
Turn it.
Just turn it and point it at me, I don't want you to have to walk.
Oh, I will.
Okay,
This is my picture where my finger is.
all right. You don't have to move, you just hold it straight up.
Hold it
No,
still.
hold, you
Is that
stop.
close enough?
Yeah, well, that's plenty close, yeah. It is the handsome one, yeah. That's a very good picture, actually. You can zoom really tight. There he is, yeah.
Now, you know, this is the only thing that I got to bring over here. It made my group, I was up there 5 days. And then my group, my squad, well, we had to come back down the way we went up. And around the backside, there's a nice road over there. But we didn't get on the road at all. We had the wild country up there for us. And after the 5 days, when we get down, then we parked in ourselves in a spot where we knew that there was no dangers, and we dug little holes, and before you know it, we found potatoes. We found some potatoes that had not been gotten up,
Right.
and that was a good meal. Just potatoes,
Fresh.
nothing else.
Were you able to cook them?
Huh?
Cook them? Did you
Oh,
have a
we
way to
cooked them.
cook
We
them,
cooked
right?
them in our mess
Right,
pits.
right,
Yeah,
okay.
little fire and cooked the
Yeah.
potatoes.
Wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful. They never tasted so good, I bet.
Yep. They had installed a medical tent in the path. And I'm down lower, but I could see a German soldier in our medical tent. And you know, if you have a hard day, really hard, you don't have a good brain. And I says to myself, I'm going to go up there and insult that guy. He was already on a stretcher. So I went up there and I looked that German soldier in the face. And then I turned and I looked down. Well, you know, there's a man that had no feet. He had lost his feet maybe half hour ago or 15 minutes, who knows. And now I can't insult him. So I says, just do what they tell you, pal, and they'll fix you up. And then I says, God bless you, and I walked away. I could not insult that guy. So.
Yeah, but didn't that come from something that your dad told you as a child when you
Oh,
wanted a new pair of
That
shoes?
might have been, I don't remember now.
Oh, I
Anyway.
do.
So then,
So what we're gonna do, we might come back and have another interview.
well, if you have an interview, why don't we figure out where you want to go?
We just wanted you to talk.
Oh,
We
just want to talk.
went exactly
It's
where, I don't know if that's where you wanted to go, but we went where we wanted to go.
I want to go right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where we'll interview.
Oh, is that where you want to go?
That's where you can show me how to ski.
Well, I was
Oh,
up where
you know,
I was up
he did
there
ski
at
in
the
the
first,
service.
where maybe the first
Yeah,
high
and
Yeah.
spot is.
we,